Hi, so this is part of the playlist on solving linear equations. This particular one is involving a fraction on a linear equation. So what it asks you to do is to solve 29 minus x over 4 equals x plus 5. And when we're asked to solve something, what we're asked to do is actually just find the value of x. So in other words, that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to make sure that we find the value of x so that this side, whatever that value is exactly the same as x plus 5. So for instance, if this side is x is 20, it would be 29 minus 20 divided by 4 is the same as 20 plus 5. So that it isn't 20, but that's what we're looking to do. Okay, so let's find out what it is. Okay, the first thing that we've got to get rid of or worry about is going to be this divide by 4, this fraction. Because the problem with a lot of these things is that, generally speaking, you need to get rid of fractions, you also need to get rid of negative numbers, and also you need to deal with big horrible numbers. Okay, so with this particular one I need to get rid of this fraction. So what I'm going to do is, in order to get rid and cancel out that fraction, I'm going to multiply it by 4. Now let's take that as an example. So if I times that by 4, I also have to times this side by 4. Okay, and I'm going to work down the page in exactly the same way as with some of the other videos as well. And there is this on the playlist, so you can have a look at those. Okay. And the reason I've multiplied this side by 4, if you can imagine that I've got, say, 1/4, and I want to get rid of that 1/4, I just want to make it 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to times it by 4, because if I do that, then it means I lose this denominator, and I end up with just 1 on its own. Well, that's what I want to do with this. I just want to lose this denominator because it's really untidy and difficult to deal with. So if I multiply this side by 4, I've got effectively 29 minus x over 4 multiplied by 4. I hope you can see that okay. So if I multiply that by 4, those two will cancel out, and I just get left with 29 minus x. I hope that's okay. I hope you can see that okay. Please do add a comment if you need me to go over that a little bit more. Okay, so this side I've got 29 minus x. On this side I have to multiply the whole thing by 4. So I'm just going to make use of brackets. I've got 4 times x plus 5. And it's like anything else with dealing with linear equations. It looks pretty horrible when you start off with, but actually it'll work out absolutely fine. And providing you do the same thing to both sides of the equation, then you should be able to get the value of x without too much of a problem. So let's just get rid of these brackets. So I've got rid of the denominator over here. I'm going to get rid of these brackets, and I'm going to do that by multiplying them out. So 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times plus 5 is plus 20. And on this side I've got 29 minus x. Okay. Right, well, it's generally easier now to make sure that I've got x's on one side and numbers on the other. And the other thing is I want to get rid of and avoid negative numbers. I don't like negative numbers, don't like denominators, and don't like brackets. All of those are going to get rid of, so I'm going to get rid of this one. And the way I'm going to do that is, again, do exactly the opposite like I did over here, in that I'm going to add x to both sides. Well, if I add x to this side, it means that minus x and that positive x cancels itself out. So I just get left with 29 on its own. Well, that's great. I'm happy. I like numbers. They're good. So on this side, I've got 4x plus x gives me 5x, and I've still got that 20 to deal with over there. But it's in the wrong place. It needs to be over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus 20 from both sides. And if I minus 20 from both sides, like I've done here, I'm just going to get rid of that 20 on that side. So that leaves me with 5x, which is great. I'm happy with that. I'm getting closer to my goal of just getting x on one side. And on this side, I've got 29 minus 20, which is 9. So I've gone from there I've worked all my way down here, and I've got myself now to 9 equals 5x. So in other words, I've got 5 times x, and I want to get one value of x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite and divide both sides by 5. Well, if I do that, I've got 5 divided by 5, which is just x on its own. And on this side, I've got 9 divided by 5, which I can write as 9 over 5, which is perfectly legitimate. Write it as a fraction. In fact, I think with a lot of the specification now, students are being encouraged to use fractions an awful lot more. But if you want to, you can change it to a mixed number, so that's going to be 1 4/5. It doesn't really matter. 9 over 5 is perfectly fine. Okay, I hope that's okay for you, and you can see the sort of logical progression through this. It is a little bit tricky when you've got fractions involved, but providing you do the same thing to both sides, you should be able to solve fairly logically and work through this particular solution. This is going to be, I'll put this into the description underneath this particular video. It does form part of a playlist, and there's lots and lots of other examples that you can have a look at for yourself. I hope you found it useful, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next video.